Hello, my name is Don Conklin with Pinnacle Custom Signs, and welcome to another edition with Fun with Signs. Today we're going to actually talk about outdoor building signs that go on retail establishments, brick and mortar establishments, to get your business recognized. So there are different types of outdoor signs, and each different type of outdoor sign has a reason for it being different and for what kind of business you're at. First of all, there's lighted signs. Now, if you're a retail business that's open after 5 o'clock at night in a strip mall, in some sort of mall that requires your customers to come in to see you after night, a lighted sign is definitely the way to go. You need to be able to be visible. You need to be able to draw traffic into your location, whether it's a retail or food or other type of a venue. But lighted sign would be extremely important for you. Now, there's two different types of lighted signs in general. One is channel letters. Now, when I say channel letters, it's the type that you see on the sides of buildings. Ones that say cleaners or dentist or something else like that. It is basically a lighted sign that has letters and sometimes shapes associated with it, logos and things like that. Channel letters today are made specifically out of LED lighting. LED lighting is important for channel letters because of two reasons. One, it actually makes the letters very much brighter than they were in the past with neon. And two, the amount of power used on LED is about 20% of what it was on neon. So not only on channel letters are the LED lights brighter, but they also reduce the power consumption on those. A matter of fact, in recent years, we've been going out to customers who have old neon lighting in their channel letters and removing the neon lights, putting in LED lights, and saving them a ton of money on power. The payback for those types of signs from a cost benefit standpoint is less than 2 years, and they get a much better look. There's also light boxes. So if you have a large sign that just needs to be on the side of the building, doesn't need to be individual letters, we can use a light box for that. We see that all over the places. We see those light boxes also on pylon signs when you're on the sides of the road. So those are the two different types of lighted signs. Now with channel letters, there's many different variations of channel letters. You have front lit, you have back lit, you have front and back lit. Again, it depends on the look, what your logo is trying to communicate, what you're trying to communicate to the general public. Unlighted signs are also an option for outdoors. Now, you might say, why would I want an unlighted sign? Well, a couple of reasons. One is the cost of an unlighted sign versus a lighted sign, obviously much cheaper if you don't have electronics and electricity to it. Number two, if you're a business that's a business to business in a industrial park or something like that, and your business is not what draws people to you, but you also want to show people who you are and kind of identify yourself on your building, an unlighted sign will do that. You're not going to have many people come visit you after hours. You're not going to have many people come see you in the morning and things like that. So unlighted signs may be a good option for you. There's really two types of unlighted signs. There's dimensional letters. Now, when I say dimensional letters, think channel letters. In other words, the individual letters, A, B, C, D, plus logos and stuff like that. Those dimensional letters can be put together and stud mounted or fastened to the side of your building. Again, same impact as channel letters. They're just not going to be lit up at night. And then we have flat panels, and flat panels come in many different varieties. You can have a flat panel aluminum sign with your logo digitally printed on it for the side of your building. That's probably the least expensive option for an outdoor sign. We can go ahead and do a multi-level sign with a flat panel with dimensional letters on top of it. We've done that many times before. Or you can go ahead and have a routed high density urethane or HDU sign. Yes, if you've listened to some of the things we've talked about before, HDU is the same material that we do for a lot of residential signs in subdivisions, things like that. So lots of options for outdoor signs, lighted or unlighted. Again, it depends on what you're trying to do, what your budget is, and where you're trying to go with this. Now, what are some restrictions for outdoor signs? People always ask me, does this sign need to be permitted? Yes, most outdoor signs do need to be permitted. And another thing that I've always asked is, how long does it take to get an outdoor sign? And again, from a timing standpoint, outdoor signs probably take the longest to permit and produce of any of the signs that we do. quick turnarounds we can probably do, but not as quick as some other signs that we do. First of all, there's a landlord restriction. A lot of landlords in the lease that you sign for your space will say you can only have these types of signs. Some are very general, some are very specific down to the color of the sign, the color of the raceway, the color of the return on it. So the first thing to look at from an outdoor sign is what your landlord will require. Some landlords require, depending on the look they're trying to get at, very expensive signs. Backlit channel letters are probably the most expensive outdoor types of signs, and a lot of landlords in some of the fancier areas, like in Atlanta, the Buckhead area and things like that, would require a backlit channel letter sign. Again, they're trying to be consistent with the look of the area, but it is going to put a little bit of a financial burden on the business buying the sign. The other one would be the development, not only the landlord, but the development. Some of the larger developments that are springing up all over the country. In Atlanta, we have Avalon, we have a lot of other different large outdoor developments. They'll also put a restriction on the signs. When I say restrictions, they want to, again, maintain that certain look and feel as to what it is. And so what they're trying to do is to make sure that all the signs have a similar look, so we don't have, a bunch of signs kind of cluttering up the place, not looking great, not looking well, and kind of what I would say making it look kind of, not upscale. And that's what they're trying to do, is to do upscales. But the biggest restriction on outdoor signs is the government and what the governmental agency requires. And it depends on what your address is. We sit here in Buford, Georgia, so a lot of our signs are permitted by the city of Buford, so we know what the sign permit requirements are for that. We do permits across the country, though, so we know exactly what the requirements are when we design and develop the signs for getting a permit across the country. Now, most of the government restrictions or regulations are dependent on what look and feel they're trying to go at as well. But a lot of times they'll be grandfathered in. So for example, here in Buford, you cannot have a monument sign that is larger than 8 feet tall. And it has to be encased totally in brick, and it has to be internally lighted. Now, if you drive around the city of Buford, you'll find a lot of signs that are bigger than that and don't meet those requirements. And the main reason is these signs were there before the sign code was changed, and therefore they are all grandfathered in. We've had to work with several of our customers in the area to ensure that our designs fit in with what the government will actually approve. Same thing across the country. There's some interesting codes that are developed. For example, Gwinnett County, Georgia, which is a suburb of Atlanta, Georgia, they have a requirement that a freestanding sign, no matter how tall it is, must withstand 150 mile per hour winds. Now, if you think about that for a second, it's a Category 5 hurricane in Gwinnett County. So they had a problem a couple of years ago with some tornadoes coming through and tearing up some signs. So they now require that each sign has an engineered sealed drawing saying that it will withstand winds up to 150 miles per hour. There are a lot of ins and outs of the outside signs. What I would tell you is that working with a sign professional is probably the best thing you can do from an outdoor sign standpoint, because most sign professionals will know what the codes are and what's going on. So what's the process for obtaining an outdoor sign? First, contact a sign professional, whether it's Pinnacle Custom Signs or someone else. Contact them because they've done this before. They know what to deal with. They know who to deal with. And therefore, if you contact your sign professional, they can actually walk you through the process. The next thing is to have your sign designed. Most sign professionals will design your sign, show you what it looks like on the building, in front of the building, and things like that. So, and you can have it to your taste. You can have it to what you're looking for, as long as it fits within the other restrictions that we have. But the design of a sign really says a lot about your business. If you think about some of the outdoor signs we see out there, McDonald's, Starbucks, they all have the same consistent look and feel. However, depending on the governmental restrictions, they may not be able to have the exact same sign that you know. Um, McDonald's will be a great example. So McDonald's has the red McDonald's and the golden arches. You know that worldwide. However, in Asheville, North Carolina, near the Biltmore Inn, there is a zone that do not like lighted signs, do not like signs with colors. So McDonald's had to adjust their standard to go ahead and have their signs made non-lighted and have their brand subdued to a certain extent. Now, if you're opening up a McDonald's up there, you probably wouldn't know that. That's why having a sign professional design it is probably the best thing for you to do. Then you need to approve the design and obtain the permit. Now, two ways. Either you as a business owner can obtain that permit, or you can hire a sign professional like Pinnacle Custom Signs to obtain that permit. Again, we know the ins and outs of doing that, so it's important that you know exactly what has to happen for you to obtain that sign permit. Once the permit is obtained, then we fabricate the sign and then we install it. It's basically a pretty easy process to follow, but the start of that process, as always, is to talk to a sign professional about what needs to happen. Now, we've been talking about outdoor signs, the types of outdoor signs, why you have outdoor signs, and things like that. Let's talk about the bottom line, which is, if you're a business owner, money, right? So there have been studies that have been done that show that 15 to 20% of business at a retail establishment is driven by the signs. Now, that's how eye-catching they are, how they reflect your business, but 15 to 20% of all customers that come into food services, retail services types of businesses are driven there specifically by the outdoor signs that you have out there. So it's very important to make sure that you optimize your brand and the what you're trying to communicate out there. Again, they highlight your brand. What is your brand? What are you trying to communicate? It's really important. Some people go about and have signs that just say dentist or travel or cleaners, and that's okay if you're not trying to establish a brand, if you're a one location type of person. But I'll give you an example. Dentistry for Children has 40 locations across the country. They're a dentist or an orthodontist, but they've created a brand standard that are on all of their outdoor signs, and you cannot miss it when you drive by one of their buildings. And at the end of the day, one thing that we always say here at Pinnacle Custom Signs is that a business with no sign is a sign of no business. If you have a building that you're doing business in and you don't have a sign out there to drive traffic to it, then you're just asking for problems. It is an economic reality that a sign will bring in more business and pay for itself over 6 months. We had a restaurant that opened up in my general vicinity, and I went to see the customer and asked them about their signs, and they were, well, we can't afford the money on the sign. We're spending money on everything else right now. So they didn't buy a sign. They didn't put a sign up. No one knew exactly what their business was driving by a high trafficked area, and eventually they did go out of business because no one knew what their business was and what they were trying to do down there. So as you put together your business model, your business projections, as you're opening up your business, do not scrimp on the sign, because the sign will drive a significant amount of traffic to your business. Again, for all your one-stop sign shop needs, all you need to do is come call Pinnacle Custom Signs. We're here to help you anytime, anyway, with any types of signs, with outdoor signs, and anything else we've talked about. Thank you very much for listening.